Effort by Killian Leonard is running on again. The front two getting close. Clearly Capable, not keen at all over the final flight. The Crooner's back in front. Clearly Capable finding little for pressure. The Game is afoot. Continues to run on. Then comes Sea Story. It's the Crooner in front, being chased in second by the Game is afoot, who continues to close. The Crooner is all out. The Game is afoot is getting there all the time. The Crooner needs the line. Here comes the Game is afoot. The Crooner maybe just hanging on from the Game is afoot. It was a persistent threat in second towards the end. Sea Story in third, and the fading Clearly Capable was fourth.
The Crooner has held on to win for Hugh Nugent and Venetia Williams in the colours of the Crooner partnership at 3-1, and has managed to initially turn away the challenge of Clearly Capable, which wilted rather alarmingly in between the last two. The Game is afoot. Full marks to the horse, 12 years old, for keeping on for Killian Leonard, but also for the jockey's persistence. He wouldn't give him any peace. Ooh, exciting stuff today, haven't we?
Yeah, clearly Capable looked like he was going to win. He canted his way to the front. He's not finished off. He hasn't been as willing when it's come to the crunch, I don't think. He might just have been getting tired. The ground is probably as testing or more testing than he maybe ideally wants it, in fairness. The Game is afoot, who just fails. He's a horse that revels in the mud. This is nowadays, well, it's a minimum trip he can run over anyway, but he probably ideally, I think, would want a little bit further or a stronger pace perhaps, but he's run a screamer. Like you say, he's nearly 13 years old now, and Zoe Davison's done really well to get him back performing like he has. And he was given 8 years, he's 8 years senior to the Crooner, the winner of the race, who gains his first win. He's not long since been with Venetia Williams. He's got an entry at Plumpton in 5 days' time, which would be unpenalised, so it wouldn't be a surprise if he was to
very
take that.
Venetia-like, wouldn't it?
It would, but you couldn't say, given the margins involved, that he'd be an absolute certainty to follow up. But I'm sure that we could well see him.
Well, there'll be no penalty, and she's a very canny trainer, Venetia Williams. Let's get to Richard.
Thanks, David. The Crooner, 3-1, held on to beat the Game is afoot at 6-1 in a dour finish. Clearly Capable didn't last home in the conditions. Sent off favourite well back late on, 9-4. We're heading to Kempton for the first race. It's a novice stakes, a 2-year-old contest over 6 furlongs. Shine On Brendan is the 10-11 market leader, head of Ivor the Engine, who I think changed hands at those sales just prior to Ascot, and we haven't seen him since. 120,000 he moved from David Evans to Paul Cole. 6-1 as well for Up to Speed, 11-1 Lily Like, 12-1 Snowball Jackson, 20-1 and bigger the others. So Shine On Brendan, odds on favourite, 10-11 off the back of finishing second first up. Is it as simple as that?
Yeah, he made a really encouraging debut at Wolverhampton last month, over 6 furlongs. He was beat just a neck. The winner won again next time, so the form's being boosted from that race. And yeah, I think he should go on better.
OK, so Shine On Brendan for Amy. Do you agree, Rachel?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's a huge race on debut from the outside draw, which is always good because at Wolverhampton you always seem to be on the turn, so he did really well. He set prominent before running on to grab second while hanging left. The nice thing is he did a few things wrong, so he can improve for that. And as Amy said, the race has worked out. The first and third have come out and win, and we actually have another horse running at Chelmsford, Kingman's Spirit, who finished 7th in that race, so potentially another franking form for Chelmsford later on. I mean, he just, to be honest, he doesn't really need to improve. He just has to run that race again, whereas Ivor the Engine, the winner in the race, has to carry the winner's penalty. We haven't seen him for 7 months, but he did run well on debut to be second at Chepstow for Dave Evans, considering he was green, slow break, etc. Improved for that run when winning at Windsor next out, more professionally away, more professional through the race. As you said, £120,000 at the Royal Ascot, the Goths.
Yeah.
You have to be rich to buy a horse at this sale. Ahead of Royal Ascot, had an entry in the Windsor Castle, but was a vet scratch, so didn't run. And obviously, it was a real problem because we haven't seen him for 7 months.
That's right. That's the concern, isn't it?
Well, he was actually
engagement, but
yeah, he was declared earlier this month, but was another vet scratch. So there's obviously they got him back, but it's not how much they've got him back. But his form as an early 2-year-old would suggest that he's got a bit of a squeak back here, but I prefer my recency of form and the race fitness as opposed to past potential.
none of the newcomers really catching the eye in the market, at least. Snowball Jackson has been particularly easy to back during the course of the day. Clearly in price slightly negatively initially, around about 11 to 2, but during the course of the day he has drifted quite markedly. They can see the prices on the bottom. Up to Speed 6 to 1's another that's run, so Snowball Jackson's effectively doubled in price. Lily Like, a little bit of money actually for Lily Like, who was a little bit bigger this morning, so a George Strawbridge Kodiak colt, or filly I should say, sorry. Last couple moving forward. So for this RacingTV.com Novice Stakes, Shine on Brendan's opportunity to get off the mark at the second time of asking. Let's cross to Kempton. Say very good evening to Mark Johnson.
Evening, Richard. Evening, ladies, and everyone at home. And it's pleasantly mild, actually, for the time of year. And there are people with Christmas hats on in the crowd. It's going to be a noisy one tonight. Last one moves in. They're in the gate. Over the engine, just backing away from gate 12. Moves forward again. That's it. They're set. And they're off. Up to Speed in gate 4 was very restless just before the break, but did break alertly as they dashed towards the end of the back stretch. Towards the inside is Shine on Brendan, who has to share the lead with Ivor the Engine around the outside. Fuchsia is very keen on their heels. Then towards the inside is Skyllachy as they take the turn. Bumble at the moment is the back marker, slightly detached, with Lily Like towards the rear of the field. Hong Kong Dragon pulling and reefing and almost unsteerable going into that turn, as they now race on towards halfway. Shine on Brendan by a neck to Ivor the Engine racing in second. Snowball Jackson around the outside in third. Fuchsia was very keen early and in fourth. Skyllachy made the turn in fifth. Up to Speed is in sixth, followed by Senna with Mercurist and also Limaro Prospect just chasing that group, and then Lily Like, and the racing inside the final quarter mile. Shine on Brendan still has the lead. Ivor the Engine just won't go away. Ivor the Engine down the outside claims the lead outside the final furlong to Shine on Brendan in second. Back in third, Snowball Jackson, but as they race up towards the line, steaming away, it's Ivor the Engine. Ivor the Engine wins. In second was Shine on Brendan, and back in third, Snowball Jackson.
For those of us of a certain era, Mark and I bought exactly the same time. Die steaming away, Ivor the Engine, 4 to 1. I've had to be patient after paying 120k for the horse in the Ascot sales, but that's a nice return. Gives weight away and a beating to Shine on Brendan. Snowball Jackson ran perfectly capably in third place, the three of them pulling away up the home straight. Both of them seem to have every chance. Seemed a fair fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm delighted for Connections. You know, like you said, they've been very patient. He's not been seen for 198 days. They paid a lot of money for him, but seeing him there, he's a really attractive individual. He looks a real nice type, so you can see why he made that sort of money. But no, great for him to get his head in front. The first three were always to the fore. They were the first, second, and third throughout the race, really. And yeah, good performance. I think the second horse has run well. And then Snowball Jackson's run a cracker on his debut, knew his job, and yeah, I think they're definitely winning more races.
Cream seemed to rise to the top in the closing stages. They left behind the others, several of whom probably going to need the sort of nursery we saw at Chelmsford a moment or two ago.
Yeah, definitely, and you can see obviously there was a physical issue with Ivor the Engine, but considering what he looked like in the videos as a 2-year-old to what he looks like now, he still looks a bit big and raw through the shoulders and not completely built into himself. That potentially the issues might have been more shin related or just growing pains, growing into yourself related. But I mean, fitness wasn't an issue. He was just so much the best. He did look, coming to the cutaway, that he was galloping all over Shine on Brendan, but Adam Kirby hadn't exactly asked him. But then when he did, the two of them sort of went forward, and Ivor the Engine just had gears. And Shine on Brendan, he ran the exact same race that he did last time. Unfortunately, he ran into a good one. I mean, because it was a bit further back to the debutant Snowball Jackson, who's run, as Amy said, a really cracking race. He was 3 wide throughout, but he did it as a horse who knew his job, and he's related to several winners and some nice horses. So he definitely, particularly as a Richard Hannon horse, he should